Comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, depending on where you're listening from. I always say the same thing at the start. Welcome to another episode of Here Comes the Money. Before we get started, Peter, do you want to give us the...
Yes, as you've probably heard in all our other episodes, just so you all know, this is general information only. Obviously, we don't know your situation, so please don't just go ahead and put everything in place that we speak about. Probably best to seek some professional advice before you actually put anything in place, because we don't consider your circumstances. We don't know what those circumstances are.
Yeah, horses for courses. Now, Peter, exciting episode today. We've actually had some...
A question from the audience.
Yeah.
And the question was, why do people say to pay principal and interest on your home loan and interest only on your investment properties?
Yeah, look, Pete, it's a great question. And I think a lot of times,
question.
Some things that are obvious to you and I, because we do this day in and day out, it's something that's so simple to answer and it gives people clarity in their mind.
Yep.
And mindset is something we should talk about in another episode, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, Peter, you want to take off on this one?
Look, I think the best place to start on this answer is basically to make sure people understand the difference between good debt and bad debt. Okay. Obviously, good debt is investment debt, such as income producing debt, or you can claim a tax deduction for that interest and stuff like that. Bad debt is debt on your home loan, on cars you don't have any tax benefits on, credit cards, personal loans, and the like. Okay, so good debt, bad debt.
Do we keep talking about cars because of that Audi Q3 that someone purchased recently?
Well, we will talk about that later on, but yes, exactly right. So good debt is investment debt that produces an income and gives you a tax benefit. Bad debt is basically debt that produces no income for you and does not offer you any tax benefits as well.
Yeah, look, quite simply, I refer to it as easy debt and hard debt. And then what I call that is hard debt is the bad debt. Why? Your home loan. So you go, work every day of the week, you get taxed on it. You come back, you got to pay the mortgage, right? Who helps you pay the mortgage?
No one.
No one. The ATO holds one arm behind your back,
Yep.
and you've got to hit it with one hand. So it's like I did last time, but I hurt my neck when I was doing it.
Yep.
It's the hardest debt you're going to have. And that's why a lot of people fear debt in general. The mindset is, oh, debt's bad, because the only debt they're used to is the home, the bad debt, right? And it's a bad debt because no one helps you pay for it. Quite simple.
Yep.
Good debt is good debt or easy debt. Why? Because somebody else pays for it. You get, if we're talking about an investment, any investment, could be investment in property.
Yep, shares,
who pays for
whatever,
it? Well, if it's structured correctly, I should say, the tenant and the taxman, right? If it's shares, you've got dividends coming. So it has to be structured correctly for you, and then a debt becomes really easy to carry. It's a good debt.
Yeah.
And those good debts are the ones that will build you wealth over time.
Yeah.
Because you're using leverage. You're increasing your financial footprint. Debt is a very, very important, and I'm going to say critical part of a lot of people's wealth journey, Peter.
Absolutely.
What do you think about the leverage component of good debt?
Look, I mean, obviously, it's a very powerful way to sort of accelerate, getting to your goal sooner. But before we sort of step too far away, just to tackle this question, why principal and interest versus interest only? So the reason people will tell you to pay principal and interest on your home loan is because that reason, it's bad debt.
Yep.
So you want to be paying off that bad debt that gives you that you have no support with. Nobody else is helping you pay it off. You want to pay that off first, okay? And the reason people say pay interest only on your investments is because a few reasons. Number one, the interest is the only part that is tax deductible to you to start with. But also, if you already have a bad debt, you want to be focusing on paying off the bad debt first before you start to pay off your good debt. Okay, so it's just a matter of, how can I put it, prioritizing which debt you're paying off.
Put all your energy on one point at one time, and it'll be more effective.
Yeah.
And like, to give you an example, I had a client actually earlier today, this morning, $1 million home, $500,000 mortgage, single guy.
Yep.
And we were able to actually save him quite a bit in his repayments just by looking at refinancing and all that. But that's not the big crux of his plan. The big crux was, okay, then we took out a good debt to go and invest in a property.
Yep.
Okay. Now, his mortgage, his primary residence mortgage, we got the rate down to, I think, 5.2, which sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
But if that was the only thing he did, he's still on a 30-year mortgage. Now, of course, I could tell him to pay more or pay more often, which might help him a bit. But the most powerful part of his strategy is when we leveraged and we took out a good debt. And we went and invested in this property, and I think it was $600,000 and it rent for, $600 a week. Now, the actual investment debt was slightly higher. I think it was 5.6 or 5.7%, interest only, because that's all tax deductible. I said, you don't want to pay that off until you've paid off your home.
Correct, yeah.
And the easiest way to pay off the investment, just sell it.
Yeah. That's
Give the bank what you owe them, keep the change.
Yeah.
Right? That's why it's a good debt.
Yeah.
It's so easy to manage. But why do we maintain? That's a higher interest rate. My home's got a lower interest rate. Why would I pay off? Why wouldn't I pay off the one with the higher interest rate?
Yeah.
Well, quite simply because that higher interest rate is not the real interest rate.
Correct.
When you take it and get the tax deduction on it, the effective interest rate might be 3.5.
Even the income he produces obviously helps you offset a lot of that too.
Correct. Yeah. But because it's tax deductible, that interest rate is just the top line that you're seeing. The real effective interest rate is a lot less. So often what we do, Peter, is we set up a safety. So we take out good debt a little bit more than we need. And then we bring that over and use that to offset the bad debt as well. But to answer your question and to answer the viewer's question or the listener's question is definitely always principal and interest on the home loan. Get rid of that bad debt and interest only on the investment. Now, as time goes, the interest only does not last forever.
No, it doesn't now.
So a lot of people don't know that when they sign up an interest only mortgage and they've set themselves up correctly, be it 1 year or 2 years, or I think you can get a 5 year.
There's even a 10-year option for some lenders now, but
not many.
Yeah,
not many lenders offer it. There usually is 1 or 2 years, right? Yeah. And then if you do nothing else, that interest only loan will click to principal and interest automatically. Yeah. So, beware of this. Yeah. You got to stay on top of your scenario. And I always say that banks value new customers more than existing customers. You actually, Peter and I call it the lazy tax. Yeah. If you set that up and it clicked onto principal and interest, you don't have the best rate. Now you're paying extra onto your investment. Yeah. You're reducing debt that you shouldn't be reducing. Yeah. When you could have otherwise
got to pay off your bad debt.
Yeah. And the simplest way I could explain it is, okay, I've got a $500,000 home loan and I've got a $600,000 investment debt. Tomorrow I go and win the lotto. I win $500,000. What should I do with it?
Pay off your home loan.
Pay off your home. Don't pay off the investment.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's always better to pay the bad debt first, and that's why that's principal and interest.
Yep.
And the good debt.
And you made a good point in terms of the easy and hard and the actual real cost of an investment loan. When you think about it, your bad debt, which is your home mortgage or your car loan, which you're getting no tax benefit for and you're paying from your after-tax dollars, is your more expensive debt. When your investment, you're getting assistance from the tenant or dividends that pay you an income, which offsets a lot of that interest cost. Yep. And also any tax benefits that you get. So your net interest cost on that investment might only be 0.5 or 1%, sometimes less. Sometimes it's in the positive.
Yeah.
So you want to be obviously directing your surplus towards a bad debt, which is more expensive, and obviously paying the least amount you need to on your investment. One thing I'd like to add here, though, we've seen this before. Some banks will obviously offer you a higher interest rate for an interest-only loan versus a principal and interest. Yeah. Now, if you can get a loan that is cheaper to pay every month as a principal and interest, even for investment, as opposed to interest-only, why wouldn't you pay it? Why wouldn't you pay P&I?
Yep.
It's not that common, but it does happen. We have seen it where, instead of taking interest-only on your investment, the bank your repayment every month as a P&I is cheaper than the interest-only
We
repayment.
actually did it recently for one of our clients. We were able to refinance everything, including his investment loans, at the P&I rate. Yeah. And I said to him, look at your current repayments, compare it. Let's look at the new repayments, P&I, even though the rate was, and the repayments were less. Yeah. In that scenario, which is a special scenario, I said go P&I on everything. Yeah. But what a lot of people, and that's why I'm a big fan of the investment in property, is because it's the most tax effective approach. And when you get back $10,000, $12,000, $14,000 in a tax return, well, you'd have to go and earn, given your marginal tax rate, whatever it is, but you'd have to earn $20,000, $25,000 to take home $14,000. Yeah. Because how much tax do you pay on a tax return? None. It's after-tax money. Yeah. So that's, I think, why good debt, interest only, bad debt, principal and interest, i.e. pay principal and interest on your home loan, interest only on your investment.
Yeah, exactly right. I think that's it.
It's another fantastic episode here with Peter and Hovig. We wound up, I think, really, really good explanation on that, Peter. As always, guys, if you do have questions, because, this may not be specific to your scenario, reach out, info@smartmoneygroup.com.au. A phenomenal another subject, and thanks for that viewer for that question.
Thanks
I really appreciate that.
It was great.
So, again, Peter, Hovig, give us you forget to say that.
Which part?
Give us a like and a follow.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well,
give us a like.
Follow us, ask any questions you have.
Camera, say it now.
There's cameras everywhere, I'm not sure.
Guys, thank you very much again. Another episode. Happy investing, and thanks for listening in.
Thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate it.